That's the worst ending to a Dynamite episode since they came on the air. That's worse than when the Dark Order stuck their fingers down the Young Bucks' throat and, got all that blood on their hands. Remember that fucking episode that everybody goddamn panned and they wish it didn't happen, but it did happen? This was 10 times worse. I'm John Ritlin with my review of AEW Dynamite. You know what? This is where the TNT Championship fucking belongs. This is where it fucking belongs. Look, you just can't give up on the goddamn Dark Order, can you? You just can't fucking give up. I don't fucking understand this. Now, I know that the Dark Order has fans, and that's great. I'm glad if you're a fan of the Dark Order. It's not even about, they're a heel group, I want to see them get their ass kicked. No, I want this entire goddamn group to go away. I don't want the talents to go away. I want the talents to have jobs. But this is fucking abhorrent. This was goddamn terrible. In fact, before I even really get started on this, here, I gotta freaking pre-shred some other notes that I had just to get goddamn impression. Yeah, let's just have Brody Lee, the most boring wrestler going today that's not named Chase Owens. At least Chase Owens actually put together a pretty compelling match. Now let's have Brody Lee, one of the worst uncharismatic figures that they've ever had in wrestling, and I defended the guy. Maybe he would be better if they got him away from the Dark Order, but you know what? No, Dark Order it's gonna fucking consume everything. It's gonna ruin AEW programming. They made me not care about Anna Jay. Anna Jay, who is a bright, talented woman that could do a lot of good in her career, but nope, let's attach her to this albatross of a goddamn stable. And once again, if you guys like it, that's great. I fucking hated it. I absolutely hated it. But did I like anything on this show? Actually, I did. But you're going to have to sit through some stuff before I get to it. Firstly, JR, Shivani, and Taz on commentary. Veda Scott would join later for the Women's Tournament Cup Finals. And then we get FTR with Tully Blanchard versus Private Party. Cool. We get FTR and Tully paired together. It's a matchup made in heaven. Tully's going to do a lot of good for FTR. He can cut good promos, even though they are pretty good on promos. It's going to be, I'm sure it's a fucking dream come true for them. Private Party did fine in this. It was an okay match. It went on a little bit too long, though, but FTR, to me, doesn't get boring. I like the fact they put on classic tag team matches, or at least try to. And yes, it did go a bit long, but FTR did hit the Goodnight Express to pin Mark Quinn for the win. So cool. All right, at least it started off decent. If that's my only criticism about AEW and even NXT and even a lot of modern wrestling programming. Sometimes the matches are just, there to fill time, and sometimes they don't need to be that long, and it gets a little bit annoying. And then we have Jon Moxley just around a fence talking about, how MJF wants to carry this company for the next 25 years, and that the way he feels when he wakes up, he's lucky if he's got another 18 months. I honestly hope that Jon Moxley continues to wrestle for a while, but he's earned his money. If he wants to retire in a couple of years, really, he has earned it. I actually would be surprised to see him wrestle still by 40, but you know what? It was a fine promo, and he basically said he was going to kick MJF's ass. Now we get an MJF update, and he starts with Genghis Khan, Castro, Napoleon, all these men were homicidal maniacs. They pale in comparison to Dictator John, talking about, injuring him with the paradigm shift. What kind of man would do that? Playing the smarmy jackass heel. And then the lawyer says the paradigm shift is a dangerous move. And they've drawn up a contract. The paradigm shift will be banned at All Out. One man should not need such a dangerous move to, win a match. He should be able to win a match another way. This is good stuff. It kind of reminds me of what they did with Orton and Shawn Michaels, banning the super kick and some other, they've done it in other stipulations throughout history, pile driver being banned and other things back in the territory days. So good stuff. I don't mind it. It's going to give MJF an advantage. Now, they could have Moxley win, and MJF could eventually get the title. I almost think they have to give it to MJF here. So, this was fine. And then we get a fucking mess of a match with some talent and, unfortunately, Marco Stunt. I mean, he wasn't really involved in the match, but he was outside there, and he shouldn't have been. Lucha Boy, Jungle Boy, Lucha Boy, actually put him under a mask. There we go, we could do that. Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, that's the problem. I mixed up the names. And the Natural Nightmares, QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes versus Lucha Bros and Butcher and Blade. Lucha Bros instantly dive, and the match was a mess. It was a mess from there. It was a spot fest. It was just this, boom, 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 bang, bang. Just everybody hit moves. A botched destroyer at one point where, thankfully, nobody got hurt, but it was just a bit of bad timing. Miscommunication between Penta and the Blade. And the Blade gets hit with the most devastating maneuver in all professional wrestling. Surprise roll up, 1, 2, 3. Till Jungle Boy gets a victory, and then they're having a bit of anger, and then Eddie Kingston shows up and says, hey, you guys are really good. We traveled down the road. Let's all band together. You guys could be tag team champions. He's banding them together. So, good. I'm glad to see, one, that Eddie Kingston got signed and that they're giving him something to do. If he can manage these teams, all right, I'm all for it. I think he might have gotten injured in that match against Cody, so having him be a manager until he can come back and wrestle, not a bad idea at all. Hell of a goddamn talker. One of the best promos going today, honestly. One of the best promos for the last number of years. And then we get Britt and Reba, Kip and Penelope. Britt talks about the various fluids that Kip and Penelope exchange, don't ask, and basically says that if they help her, basically if Penelope helps her, she will give them free dental care for a year, and because she's a dentist, in case you didn't know, and that Reba will do Penelope's makeup for a year. And maybe Kip's makeup. I actually don't judge, and I have no goddamn idea. I think just Penelope's, but who the fuck knows? And Reba's like, wait, what? So we're going to get a handicap match next week. And then Shivani interviews Orange Cassidy and Best Friends, except here comes Chris Jericho in a really, really loud jacket. I want to go on record as saying that Chris Jericho's a goddamn idiot for performing in Sturgis, and I will stick to that. It's going to be more than 7 cases, Chris. It's going to be more than 7 cases. I mean, I know you've been hitting the head a lot, but you should know how math works. So, he puts over Cassidy, says, hey, how about a third match? This is where things really started to unravel for me, because it's gonna, oh, god damn it. Mimosa Mayhem match. Vince Russo is booking AEW now. He has to be. He has to be, or somebody just of equal stupidity has to be booking it. Basically, you win by pinfall submission or dumping your opponent in an 80-gallon vat, so I assume a giant pool, of orange juice and bubbly. And right here, I am actually debating why I'm watching AEW. And I love AEW. I've actually enjoyed Dynamite more than I have weekly NXT. And it has quickly become later WCW. I don't want that to happen. I want Dynamite to be good. Some weeks it's absolutely incredible. And other weeks it's this. And my Mimosa Mayhem. I understand the point of having comedy matches. I'm not, at this point, I've kind of gotten, just done with saying anything about Orange Cassidy. I'm not a fan of the guy, but it is what it is. I got bigger fish to fry and other people that I can't stand on this show. But fucking Christ, just why? Just why? Why? Why are we going to do, and they're going to put this on pay-per-view. I'm still going to order the pay-per-view because there are matches I'm looking forward to, but boy, I am really, really debating. It's starting to stretch my enthusiasm for AEW really thin. I want to have that revitalized. Because they're doing some good shit, but they are doing some shit like this and like in the main event. So, Aaron Circle's here. The Aaron Drunk Circle. Get them, boys, and everybody brawls. And then you got 5 men drenching 1 man in all of their various liquids. News at 11. Then Omega and the Bucks versus Silver, Reynolds, and Angels. I hate the Dark Order. Have I mentioned that? I also didn't really care about this because this could have been on Dark. And no, not because of the Dark Order. Just because these guys just aren't, they're not bad, but they're just nondescript, and the masks don't give them any identity. It doesn't really make them any better. It doesn't make them any more fearsome. It makes them, a whole lot worse to me. Chair to Omega's head at one point, so he decides to fire back a little bit later with a one-wing angel, and he pins Angels and a one-wing angel on Angels, and then gets a chair, puts it out almost like he was going to kill him with it, but then one of the Bucks stops him. I don't know why. I really don't, because if this group has done so many bad things, why wouldn't you let him take people out? Oh, it's slow unraveling, and Omega's going to become a version of the Cleaner and kill people and stuff. I don't know. Okay, Thursday Night Dynamite next week. I want to say right now that because I work Thursday nights, I will record that and I will watch that later. I am not taking the day off for Dynamite, especially not after this episode. I'll watch it. And I look forward to it, and I hope that it's actually pretty good. I don't think it's going to be good, but whatever. It is what it is. We're getting in next week, a gauntlet match. Alex Marvez should not be doing backstage interviews at all. It's one thing to stumble over your words doing a YouTube video. He is on a live, well, maybe taped broadcast. It just, he doesn't strike me as a bad guy. I've actually read some of his, pieces he's written, as far as doing sports writing. He's a really good writer. He's not a good television personality. It's going to be the Natural Nightmares taking on the Young Bucks. Whoever wins that match takes on the Best Friends. Whoever wins that match takes on FTR. FTR is no doubt going to win this. FTR then says, we're going to learn from the best. And Paige shows up drunk and upset. You faked a knee injury, da-da. The knee injury was a test to see who, they could trust. We're no doubt getting Paige joining FTR soon after. In fact, I would go on the record that Paige is probably going to betray Omega after they lose the titles to FTR at All Out. Tully says Fear of the Revelation, which, you know what, they want to call him the Revelation. I'm actually all for it. This inspired me a little bit more where I'm like, okay, they do more shit like this and tease some stuff that I actually might buy into, and a stable of actual talents that could get somewhere, then maybe I'll actually like it. Then we get Darby Allin versus Will Hobbs. Darby's dives are freaking scary because he dives just the same whether he's on an indie show or not. Hobbs tosses him around a bit, but eventually coffin drop for 3. And Taz yells at Darby, there's a new member of Team Taz. Oh, wait, it's just Ricky Starks and Darby makeup. And he mocks him. And then Cage shows up. And they beat him up. That's pretty much it. It wasn't bad. I like Ricky Starks. Cage is also there. And I like Darby. And Taz is a pretty good manager. He's a good mouthpiece. And then Sammy has flashcards. And during the commercial break, Matt attacks him, beats the shit out of him. It goes to break, by the way, and gets away from the picture-in-picture. And then Matt's attacking him with the chair repeatedly, beating the shit out of him, and then Sammy became the table, literally becoming one with the table. And then Matt says, it's not over till I end him. Thunder Rosa is going to face Hikaru Shida at All Out. I love Thunder Rosa. I'm excited for this. I will actually order the pay-per-view based on this match alone. Well, a couple other matches, but seriously, they sold me on the pay-per-view because I love me some Thunder Rosa. She was at one of the first indie shows I went to. And really, really nice, and her work is goddamn great. And her and Shida, give them 15 minutes, they will have a great match. Because they're both world-class athletes. Shida has improved, and Thunder Rosa needs an even bigger stage to show what she can do. She's been great, on NWA. And until they bring that back, they're letting her go out and do some stuff, and she's a great NWA Women's Champion. I'm excited to see that match. Ivelisse and Diamante versus Nightmare Sisters, Allie, and unfortunately Brandy Rhodes. When Brandy was not in this match, it wasn't that bad. Tournament Cup Finals, by the way. Veda Scott joined commentary for this. I think Veda Scott should be kept on as a commentator, or at least used here and there. I think she can provide some good insight. Give JR a break, maybe. I know JR is their lead color guy, or their lead call guy. Either, their lead announcer, but he needs a break here and there. He doesn't sound like he gives a shit about the women's matches. And then a spear by Brandy, horrible spear. And then down the rabbit hole for 2, and then a snapmare into a kick, and Allie gets pinned. The talentless one, or the talented one, rather, gets pinned. Not the talentless one, Brandy. Unfortunately, not the last time we're going to see Brandy. But yeah, Allie got pinned. Ivelisse and Diamante win the AEW Women's Tag Team Tournament Cup. And they also have a very generic theme. If they're going to keep them as a team, they really should do something better than just like the same 3 beats over and over. Next week, we're getting Jericho back on commentary. Okay, cool. All right, Gauntlet match that I mentioned. Tables match with Matt and Sammy. Moxley versus MJF in contract signing. Swole versus Britt and Penelope, I assume, in a handicap match. Probably Reba. Also, it's going to be 3-on-1 because Britt can't really do all that much. But then Britt's going to sneak in the win, probably. And then we get Cody versus Brody Lee. I would eat this if I could, but eating paper is bad. Eating paper is very bad. I'm going to go on the record right now and saying that I regret ever having faith that Brody Lee could have done anything good outside of WWE. Because all they've had him do, and not necessarily lately, but all they had him do for a bit was rip off Vince McMahon, which whatever. Vince McMahon certainly deserves to be mocked. It didn't help Brody Lee. This hasn't helped Brody Lee. Cody gets a little bit of a flurry in the beginning, and then Brody Lee beats the shit out of him and beats him in about 3 minutes. They are also calling Cody the Prince of Pro Wrestling. You might as well take the TNT Championship and just get rid of it. Just fucking get rid of it. I don't even mean because somebody beat Cody, because I was hoping somebody would beat Cody. But you're giving it to Brody Lee. The Dark Order is the worst stable in wrestling. It's the worst faction in wrestling. Well, besides the group known as Retribution, but that's just the worst concept in wrestling. They've had months and months and months. It's been over a year that they've had this thing going. It's been a number of months they have been having it going with Brody Lee. And they did everything they could here. Cody did everything. He did a stretcher job for that. We saw him bleeding like crazy when him and Dustin battled each other. The towel was thrown in. MJF threw a towel in at one point. We've seen Cody in plenty of bloody feuds and everything, and great matches, and practically destroying Kota Ibushi's neck at Wrestle Kingdom 12. He's done a whole bunch of shit. and he does a stretcher job for a guy that is not very interesting, and yes, is tall and everything, and that's fucking it. That's fucking it. They're doing a stretcher job for that. It's one thing to go old school. It's one thing, okay, let's do that. Let's do everything we can. Suddenly they start beating up Arn Anderson because the Dark Order comes out there because we didn't have enough fucking Dark Order here. Nope, let's do more of this shit. Let's do more. And then they beat up Arn. They bring Cody back out. They beat the shit out of him. They throw pieces of the old championship on him. And then Brandy's wondering what's going on. And Anna Jay gets sicked on her. So great, Anna Jay versus Brandy in a feud I don't care about because they've already killed my interest in Anna Jay. Bravo. You're going to have to wash the stink off of this, off of her with this. Just, I can't even come up with the words. This is one of the worst endings to wrestling television show that I've seen in a while. Now, I don't know if it's necessarily as bad as the stuff they've done with Retribution on WWE programming, but for AEW, for a, promotion that's just been going on TV for just under a year, they've had more good than bad. This is fucking bad. This is really fucking bad, and they should be ashamed. They should be fucking ashamed. Again, if you guys like the Dark Order, fantastic. I don't care if they're heels. They're not very interesting. They're not very good. I don't care how good the athletes are. The gimmick is shit. I fucking hate it. Throw TNT Championship in the trash. It was a mistake to begin with. One, they kind of killed off Lance Archer. He hasn't really been doing much of anything. Cody did what he could with the open challenge. And they just completely undid everything. Brody Lee's going to be the most uninteresting champion going in wrestling today. That's it. I'm still going to watch AEW, but boy, they're really going to have to try hard to get my interest back for it. Just goddamn. They learned nothing from the death of WCW. They learned fucking nothing. This is as bad as Russo booking. Yes, and in my opinion, the ending was as bad as that. So anyway, agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.